I'm Chris McDonough, a retired homicide detective. I've interviewed thousands of people, from serial killers to ministers. Welcome to the interview room. Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the interview room. And as you can see, I've got this guy over here. He's been such a rascal, and if this is the cutest thing you've ever seen, he's a little exhausted today because I had him out on a run, and if I mention, certain critters, he'll fire right up, but. Oh, buddy, he keeps our family grounded and pretty stable as a whole. Well, I know this is the last minute tonight to kind of just drop this in, but my sweetheart was saying, honey, we really need to do something for our membership, and so I thought, okay, well, no better time than now, and so that's why we're doing this. And two, I need to get a little better at, coordinating these member-only chats. And I just want you to know, on behalf of our family and others, families that we're working with, for your support has been phenomenal. And I want to take this time this evening to honor you as our members. And I'm going to try to answer as many questions as we can. And this is an open forum tonight. I know Miss Sophia is here, one of our mods, and others will be coming in, I'm sure, Maui Girl, Mimi J2, and Mrs. TJ. But this was kind of one of those things that just kind of dropped in. And so forgive me for taking up your time. But I really wanted to give you the time as well to get to know us a little bit more intimate. And so as I go along here, we're just going to go ahead and grab questions. And as you can see, he's already trying to escape behind me. So, Bud, go on down. He will in a second. But so as we go along here, this is just us. We're sitting in the interview room. We're just going to have a chat here. You get to know me. I get to understand a little bit more about what you're thinking. And so, I figured, we'll just kind of go at it here. And hopefully you enjoy this evening's conversation. So I'm going to call this the briefing, kind of going forward. So let's see. So let's get right into it. What's on your mind? First of all, give me an idea of where everybody is at. And by the way, we can't thank you enough for all your kindness, your compliments. You're just too kind. And it's a tough world. It's a tough world, that's for sure. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and grab some of these. All right, I see Cindy, A.K. Skinny. Does it make more sense why Barry and his family did not join in on the searches or make, please, I'm assuming you meant please, for Suzanne's return after these preliminary hearings? Cindy, that is a great point through this whole process, right? That, he from the get-go obviously has not, been in the game. So, I guess we'll call it that, right? Where he hasn't jumped up there and said, hey, I need to get out there and look for my wife. And what a sad scenario. Just that concept in of itself is. And let's just pray that the court system, does what it needs to do. And, hopefully the DA's got the evidence necessary to take it to, the end zone. So let's see. Great comment. And thank you, by the way, everybody, if you're just joining with us. This is a members only chat again. And I'm waiting for Dillan to show up here in a little bit. And he'll be able to pull some of our comments up too if we miss them. So first of all, tell me where you're at. If you give me, let's see here. While you're doing that, I'm going to pull up Donna's question. Can you give your opinion on Barry and this pretrial? Do you think the judge will make a decision to say this will go to trial? I really do. I think the judge is going to bind this over. I had an opportunity, obviously, last night to be with Vanessa and Lauren Sharp on Unmasked, and we kind of talked about that not only on screen but off screen, and I think there's a whole heck of a lot more evidence that we're not familiar with yet, and I'm sure that's going to be coming in. So, keep the faith on this one. Keep the faith. So we've got Dallas in the house, New Jersey, Colorado, LaGrange, Kentucky, Michigan, and thank you, Sevierville, Tennessee, Philly, Rogersville. Thank you, Lady D. Let's see here. France, Montpellier, France. My brother lived in Toulouse many years ago. He was with Air France. He was in the avionics business. So South Dakota, California, Virginia, Erin, Tennessee, Coral Springs, Florida, North Carolina, Marysville, Tennessee. Question. Great question. So Shelby Mouton, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Question. What if the state runs out of time in the prelim? Yeah, right. I think the defense has done a real good job, kind of clogging up the wheel. And so, we'll see how that's going to go, right? We'll see how that's go. Denise Lands, thank you so much for your compliment. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep going. Chris, this is a comment. Chris, I was brought up in a family that didn't acknowledge that I was repeatedly sexually assaulted by my stepfather. You are my personal hero for everything you do for the other victims that don't have a voice. Thank you, KY. And God bless you for your strength today to even share that piece of your story. It's a tough world out there. And, not enough people are believing the victims. And, the suspects that commit those types of atrocities, they really do go out of their way to paint the picture the opposite direction. And thank you for this comment, because that is one of the most endearing things that any SA victim wants to hear, is the validation from their own family that it occurred. So, God bless you and thank you so much for sharing that piece of your life. Took a lot of courage. Navy vet, and thank you for your service. And shout out to all of our veterans out there. You guys and gals who have served this country, we can't say enough thanks for you. And it's a tough world. I don't know if I don't share it a whole bunch, but both of my parents were military. My mother was in the Marine Corps for 5 years, and my father was in the Marine Corps for 31 years. And both of them are buried in Arlington National Cemetery. My father fought in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. So I appreciate your service. And, God bless all of our veterans. This channel, you will always be acknowledged and be welcome. The gentleman who secretly filmed area behind home after sale where there's a suspicious burn area. What's your opinion? Um, I didn't even see it, to be honest with you. So if somebody was back there filming, hopefully they were on, public property and not violating the rules. So, but I will go look, Navy vet, and thank you for that question. Let's see here. Marine Mom here, Semper Fi. Thank you, Truth Seeker. There you go. Dillan's lining up to go into the Air Force. So he's, getting ready for that piece. So that'll be pretty interesting to see him. He's going to go to the officer candidate school through the ROTC, and your mom's already crying, so we'll see where that's going to go. Let's see here. Down Under Crime Talks. All right. Great. Hey, thank you for being here. Lucky I've made a great life and family, but will never want her funeral and detest her more than the older I got. Okay, so I think that was more of a comment. Thank you. Thank you. Mona, do we know who Summer's brothers are staying with? Can they speak freely regarding anything? I know they are in foster care, in custody from the state. And I'm assuming they can speak to the folks that are hopefully helping them in this tragic situation with their whole family. Thank you, all of our friends from Australia and overseas and Europe. And we're just so grateful that you're with us and that you trust us with your time. That's the most important commodity that you have. And, it's not about a money thing for us, at all. I have a pension. So, and we're traveling the world, or i.e. the U.S., and we're helping families when they reach out, or if I get a phone call from Coop or Dean or somebody for the cold case, we'll help you. It's a 501c3 and it's free of charge. So we appreciate having the opportunity to do that. It keeps us all sharp. Let's see here. Is there one question you'd ask Deb in the aftermath of your last interview since having others weigh in and his comments? You'll see that tomorrow. I think you'll see that tomorrow. And, God bless, their souls, right? I mean, folks are, they're going to do and say what they do and say, and, I don't pay attention to it. I'm too busy. Meredith the Deals, worried about your safety there in the Tennessee backwoods. Well, I appreciate that. And, I was in the LA riots. I've been shot at 3 times. So I do appreciate your help for sure and your concern. But I'll be fine. You seem a little stressed. Are there occasions social media? No, I'm fine. I play guitar. I just have my dog next to me. Actually, I'm pretty relaxed. I went, for a long run today, so we're good. I was 6-year-old when my stepfather began his abusing me on a stormy night in July in the late 50s. I was never believed. Wow. My only solace is he took his life. Wow. That is sad. Well, man. Let's see here. I've been a member, it says, for 23 days, but I can't comment in the chat. Anybody have any ideas? What's your question, Lake Mom 71? I'll help you out. I think it's just, I had to put it on slow because we have so many folks coming in. And so I just want to make sure everybody had an opportunity to ask a question. And I obviously, I'm not going to be able to get everything, but hopefully I'll get to a lot of them. I'd like to hear more about the corn feed that Barry purchased and your thoughts on that. Jan F., great question. So I knew about that. I think it's a 50-pound bag of corn feed. He said it was for turkey bait for hunting, but he sent his employee to go get it, and that will maybe come out at some point. I'm sure it will. And you know, anybody can, kind of speculate what that's about. I think maybe the burlap bag is important. And I know that I've heard that that corn feed potentially can be used for absorption. So we'll see how that plays out. That is a great question. This is a good question. Thank you, Christy Wise. What determines how much the police share with the families during an investigation? Most agencies will assign a liaison to a family depending on the totality and the volume of media scrutiny. If it's a very high profile case, you can expect the PD to assign someone. I think the Miliete case, with Maya is a good example. They had some hiccups in the beginning, but everything got smoothed out, and the folks are in sequence, are in sync with each other. And as a result of that, they have weekly, if not biweekly, conversations, if not daily conversations with her family. So that is a really good point. And agencies should do that. The larger agencies don't necessarily all think in that lane, but the agencies where where I was from in Southern California, we had a lot of volume as well. All of the different a caper is a caper. It doesn't matter if you're in the Bronx. Or if you're in South Central LA, or if you're at the pier jumping off committing a suicide in Carlsbad, California, for an example, or San Diego, Oceanside, wherever. Every single investigation has different nuances and different moving parts, but they're all homicide and or suspicious death investigations. It doesn't matter about the size of the agency at all. The larger agencies, quite frankly, overlook a lot of stuff and they get it wrong because they don't have time to focus. So let's see here. Python. Wow. Can I share? Thank you for sharing this, but this is hard. Python chick. I was also molested as a child by my uncle. I was so young. I didn't realize for many years that what had taken place was not okay. When I told my parents, I was also not believed. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for sharing your story. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage. Forgive me as I'm new to this, but remember a comment you made about your own son on a bike. Can you give a quick overview of the backstory? Well, my son, who is now a successful father, there's the old saying, you measure your success by your grandchildren. So we have 5 grandchildren, and our children have done absolutely amazing because of their mother. And so the backstory is I joined the police department in 1982. And what had happened was he was either 2 or 3. It was either 1979 or 1980. He was born in 77. What happened was he was out in front of our house at the time on the sidewalk, and he had one of those big wheels. Remember those things where the kids would just do, and his feet could just barely touch the pedals. And so I was keeping an eye on him. And next thing you know it, a car pulled up. It was an older, large, I think Buick, if I remember right at the time. And he stopped. And the passenger's door opened. And I saw the driver leaning over as if he was talking to him. And immediately, I took off. I went out of the house yelling, and the car took off. Okay? And I got him, back inside, and I made a deal with, for me, my personal faith, my religious belief. I made a deal with the universe and with God, and said, if you give me an opportunity, I will hunt these guys down for the rest of my life. And that's really how it started. And I started taking the civil service exams. I actually almost went into the Border Patrol, and I was getting ready to be transferred to Glencoe, Georgia, to the academy down there, the FLETC, it's Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. And next thing you know, my dad at the time, my father said, well, rather than going to the BP, why don't you look at local municipalities? And so I took the test, and next thing you know it, I was in the academy, and my TAC officer was an infantry officer in the Marine Corps during Vietnam, and his name was Frank Bruckner. And he was crazy at the time, and but we came to love him over time. And so I've been doing this ever since that time, since 1979, 1980. But when I went into the law enforcement in 1982, that was kind of my start of learning about these guys. And then in my career, I went the first couple years pushing a car in 1984 to 86. I got transferred into Vice because I, had the nice guy look. And so I did that for 2 years. And then 1986 to 1989, I got transferred as a canine handler. And so I had a dog. His name was Irk. We used to call him Irk the Jerk. And from there, actually December 16th, 1989, a little girl by the name of Leticia Hernandez was kidnapped out of her front yard. And the department transferred me into the Bureau. And I stayed in the Bureau until I eventually retired. And then subsequent to that, while I was still working homicide, then I actually started working with a foundation. Actually, I'm the first board of director for the largest child safety company in the country. It's a 501c3 called The Greatest Save. And Raleigh Fingers from Major League Baseball is the spokesperson for the organization. And it was started by a dear friend of mine by the name of Doug Sebastian. And at the time, his wife was Ashby, but she unfortunately lost a bout with cancer, and he remarried Nancy, who's an absolute doll. And we have been helping children learn how to look for the dangers of predatorial behavior. And so I sit on that board of directors. I don't make a penny for it. Nothing. I've never asked for it, and I never will. This is about children because I came from my own experience of seeing what potentially could happen pretty quickly. And so from there, I got picked up by it was called the Institute of Investigative Science at the time, where I was training law enforcement around the country because I had some specialized training that the department had sent me through some schools. And so I stayed with those guys, which subsequently turned into the Cold Case Foundation today. So I've been with them since about 1998. And I met Mike from Profiling Evil. He asked me to come teach a class in Utah about child serial traits, meaning guys that select children to murder them for gratification. So that's how our relationship started. And then, of course, Coop and others. And so I've been in the game completely since 1982. Have not had a chance to get a breather other than when I bought this Airstream. So, and so it's just in me. So let me see what else we got. Let's see here. Thank you, Will LB. I'm grateful that you're here. We sure love you guys. What an amazing group of people you are, each of you. Actually, I'm not from Michigan. My wife is from Michigan. My sweetheart. I married a great Michigan girl. She's a smart girl. A lot smarter than me, by the way. I don't want to put her hometown out because there's just too many crazy things out there right now, but I appreciate that. Yeah, can we get a show with Karen behind the desk? Yeah, I know Tamlin, right? 81. I asked her tonight, and she said, "Give me more time." So she will definitely be here on the next one, though. I promise you that because she promised me. Okay. Yeah, from Michigan girls, I know, right? You girls are much smarter than us. All right, let's see here. What else we got? How did you meet Karen? Okay, great. That's a great story. She got me in trouble, actually. So Karen, if you don't know, she is still, even to this day, she still writes. And by the way, I'm very, very proud of her. She has done some amazing things in her career. But as a journalist, she was working for the largest paper, or second largest in San Diego County. And she was dangerous. I'd read stuff, the next day in the newspaper about things that I was like, who the heck is talking? And so for over a year, she called me and left voice messages because I would delete them. And because I just thought, no, this gal is just too dangerous. If I say anything, it's going to be on the news, the front page tomorrow. So long story short, my captain walked over to my desk and he said, "Hey, McDonough, do you know this girl reporter?" And I said, "Yeah, she's a pain in the tush. She's been calling me for over a year and I've been deleting her calls." And he says, "Yeah, now she's calling me and I'm ordering you to talk to her." So literally, I got ordered to talk to my soulmate. And we've been together ever since, and we haven't looked back. So I'll let her finish her side of the story on that one. But, the luck of the Irish, right? Right there, my Cladow. And by the way, a little bit about my Cladow ring here. Our son, Ryan, he was 20 years old, and September 3rd, 2003, he passed away. And so this was his top of his Cladow ring, and I had it cut and I had it overlaid my wedding band, so with the permission of my sweetheart, right? And so that's his, and I think I wear it wrong sometime. We've got all our Ireland folks here. If you're here, let me know. Tina King, how does Hawaii come into play? Great question. So my dad was in the Marine Corps, as you heard, and he was stationed at Kaneohe Marine Corps Air Station in K-Bay, or, in Kailua. And so as a kid, when he would get deployed overseas, my mom, we would rent a house in town. So we lived in Kaneohe, and in Kailua, and I went to there's a school there, it's St. Anthony's School on Kailua Boulevard. My brother graduated or went to Kailua Intermediate, and then my sister went to Kailua High School. And so we grew up with the Aloha spirit, probably, for 7, 8 years over there. And then we moved. We went to Japan for a couple of years. My dad got transferred. And then we ended up in California in 1972. And that's how we landed in SoCal. And then my dad retired out of the Marine Corps in 1975 there in Camp Pendleton. So that's the Hawaii story. And that's where I just love the culture. I love the Polynesian people. I just love the way they just have that spirit, the Aloha spirit, and it came early to me as a young boy. So thank you for asking that question. And Corporal D, aloha from Australia. Aloha, brother, and welcome from down under. I love it. You're awesome. Okinawa, no, Yokohama, Truth Seeker. We were in Yokohama. My father was, he was stationed at Kamasea. So, Nihongo wa shaburo skoshi desu ne. So I still speak a little Japanese. Okay, enough to get in trouble at restaurants. But it did impress my wife when it was necessary. You know what? God bless him. Ginny, thank you for that question. It's his family, it's his daughter, and I don't have I don't have anything negative to say about anybody. Quite frankly, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. So God bless him. Good for him. Me and my membership expire. I'm having issues renewing. I object. Okay, well we'll try to figure that out. I'm the new guy at this too. I object. So hang in there, and I'll see what D-Man can figure out. Okay. Let's see here. And thank you guys, everybody, for being here. Kubi, have you ever worked on cases out of Arizona? Not out of Arizona, but cases that ended up in Arizona. Yeah, we had that's the Interstate 8 and the Interstate 10. So, there's crooks for some reason like to jump on this, and they end up in the, that area over there, Phoenix, etc. So yeah, we've chased a lot of bad guys to that area, and then vice versa. They've come to our cities too. So in Southern California. That's a great question. That's a great idea. It's me, Gigi. Think we should have a meet and greet somewhere this fall. Would love to meet you all. I'd love to meet you guys too, and we'll have to work on that. That's kind of been a conversation that we've had, about connecting with everybody. So that's a great question, great point, and that is on our radar. Okay. Well, I'll be anything new on the Maya Maletti case lately, Chris? Well, I put a bingo card of 1,000 on that one. So I think if we just kind of hold on, to our seatbelts, that one's gonna come running at us. We'll see, but it's not far. Let's see here. You have a channel really downgrading. I left. Oh, well, thank you, Roxanne, and it's okay. Let them be. But I appreciate your being here. Let's see here. Would love to meet you, but doubt you'll ever be in our area, and I'm low on vacation time. Christian, where are you at? Where are you at? You never know. The McDonoughs are mobile. We've got to get this situation going here, resolved. And, that it's kind of interesting because everybody for some reason has thought that I'm out here with TBI. I've never said that, okay, at all. And so I don't know where these things come from, but if you have any, if you ever have a doubt, just ask me. I'll tell you, what the truth is. Not a problem. Will you be doing a show on a Morpher case? Possibly have Suzanne's sister on again. We recently were in communication with Suzanne's sister, and she's got a lot on her plate, obviously with the trial, and we wanted to be respectful of not only her but Andy and others, the other family members. I mean, Karen and I have had dinner with them, with some of their family members. I ate Andy's hot dogs. If you've never been to Gene's Root Beer in Alexandria, Indiana, get over there. Get a hot dog. They're unbelievable. And Andy was so funny. He says, "You know what you're going to be thinking about at 2 o'clock in the morning after I ate, I think I ate like two of them or three of them." And I said, "I have no idea." And I thought he was going to hit me with a curveball comedy thing. And he goes, "Another hot dog." I thought, oh my gosh, man, you set me up for that, buddy. You set me up for that. That's so funny. Yeah, now I want a hot dog. Exactly right. Let's see here. Andy is amazing. Andy is amazing. What a brother. What a brother. Boy, was he on target from day one. God bless his soul. Yeah, God bless that family. They really have been through a lot. And I thought it was interesting that Lauren Sharf got some of the edge from the other side while in the courtroom. That was interesting. Miss Sophia, link in chat for a member for iPhone. Okay, there you go. Looks like, don't you love Miss Sophia? She's amazing. She's our leader of our mods, and boy, we couldn't do it without our mods and Maui Girl. I mean, these and Mimi J too. Mr. TJ. Four Sons Mob. Wow. That's all I can say. I can't really say, more because they're just fantastic. And I see them on all their channels too. It's like, how do you do that? How do you keep up? How do you keep up? Irish gal here. Have you ever visited here in Ireland? Have you tried to track your roots? I know lots of McDonoughs who knows could be related. So my clan comes from the county, Cork area. And so, no, I have not been to Ireland, but my father and had been to Ireland, but I have not had the opportunity to do that. But I'm certainly not going to let that slide while I'm still, young enough to make it happen. So I'll reach out, D, if I get over there. Okay. All right. Hope what is happening with Delphi case doesn't happen to Summers case. Well, the Delphi case, they may have that character, locked into the guy with the kid in the basement. He looks like a strong possibility. I don't know if they flushed him out yet. I don't know the totality, but boy, he fit the mold. For that little kid to go into his house and pet his dog, and next thing you know it, he's knocking her out, and it's just horrendous. So hopefully it doesn't happen as well, Deb C. I don't think Summers' case is going to go cold either. I think the good people of Tennessee and the good people around that area and TBI, the Sheriff's Department, the FBI, they've got it together. They know what time it is. And they're working hard. And I can promise you that it'll fall into place at some point. Okay? If I ever go solve a case in Ireland, yeah, Tanya, right? I'd love to. But, if you have a case in Ireland and you want to submit it to the Cold Case Foundation, we just did one from Siberia. where it was a situation that a young man who was an exchange student was found, and we put that some of those pieces of the puzzle together for the, quite frankly, for the State Department. So. Let's see here. Oopsie daisy. What can the community of YouTube and outside of YouTube do to help with Summer or any children's missing cases? The most important piece of any missing child investigation is to keep her name in the public's ears and eyes. Because if it's a situation that, like Elizabeth Smart, for an example, somebody somewhere will recognize that person. And so the correct way of talking about Summer Wells is to talk about Summer Wells. And so this is a great, great question. So what we can do in the YouTube community as well in the public is to not just, talk about craziness around her, talk about her, because she is what's important. I'm not important. Okay? Summer is. The same for these boys in California. Those two children need a voice from the public. I can assure you, though, law enforcement behind the scenes is working 24/7, 365. I can guarantee you that. Can anybody send a case to the Cold Case Foundation, or does it have to be a family member that submits it? There's two ways of submitting to CCF. The first is from the family, and the second is through the law enforcement agency working the case. Okay? Favorite place to eat? East Tennessee. So there's a barbecue joint that Karen and I went to. And Karen, maybe you can put it in the chat because I forget the name of it. But it was a meat and threes. And man, it was off the hook. So I'm going to ask my sweetheart to throw it into the chat. Kobe, do I have any single sons around 40 asking for a friend? Okay. Well, I did. He's married now, and he's a doctor. So, well, I don't want to say too much about him because YouTube's an interesting atmosphere. Do I think anything is cooking in Utah for that little boy over there, or in Idaho where the Michael? I don't know, to be honest with you. I've been so busy with this sweet little girl, trying to connect some dots, that I cannot say what's going on over there in Utah outside of outside of that. Thank you for asking, though. Thank you for doing what you're doing, Chris, Karen, and Mods. Please, can you check into a cold case, Lori Delphus, Appleton, Wisconsin? Ambient Soul, can you send that to CCF, please? And by the way, if you guys have leads or anything like that, and it deals with an open investigation, do me a favor. Get hold of the law enforcement agency first. Okay? Let them know everything that's going on. Because my MO, you'll notice I didn't show up for Summer Wells until they were about 30 days into this thing. Okay? That's my MO. When there's an active investigation and it kicks pretty quickly, I'm not going to get in the way, and I'm not going to be around there at all. I never have, and I never will. But when the family reaches out, such as, and I'll use Milietta as an example, Richard and Mary Chris needed a voice, and they asked me, if I could help them, and I have been for the last 6-7 months now, all behind the scenes. So that's what we like to do. And, there's a lot of cases where I did a lot of interviews, even on Barry's situation, that, are pretty interesting. So we connected some dots. I handed some stuff over to CBI, and that's the way it gets done. Thank you for that point. Whoops. Were you ever asked to investigate the Orrin and Orson case? No. I know everyone would love for you to come to California and do so. Thanks for all your family. Thank you, kindred spirit. We love you. I've gotten a couple of notes from family members, but I know that there are other things cooking on that thing. So let's see how that's going to play out a little bit here. Okay. Let's see here. I know the West Boys, they're important. I know. They're as important as everybody else. They sure are. Do I think, this is an interesting question. Do you think Summer's case is related to Rose's case, Kentucky Brown Eyes? The victimology in both of those are so different. But what's the coincidence, right? So that's kind of where I think your question's coming from. How do we look at this objectively and say, okay, are they related? One of the things that I got comfort in, quite frankly, was when I was talking to, Candace, and in her kitchen was her sister, a picture of her sister. And you'll see, I don't know if you remember, and when I asked her, I said, well, who's that with her? And she goes, her husband. And I said, oh, wow. And she said, well, I can't really talk about that. So maybe there's more behind the scenes on that case in Wisconsin. But the fact that, two family members, I think that's where everybody's going. I don't know yet. I think we need more data. I think we need more information to kind of try to connect those dots. Thank you for your question. Cola Green, I'm trying to send it, keeps saying and hit it. Okay, what do you say? What are your thoughts on the missing camera? D says he had bought C. He said there were pictures of Summer on it. Well, he says it's missing and it's not on the evidence receipt list, which I find highly unlikely that law enforcement would risk, this type of problem in such a high-profile case involving a 5-year-old little girl. I don't see law enforcement, from my opinion, and seeing, what the totality of this problem. This is not one of those situations where they're going to ever jeopardize a 5-year-old little girl. It ain't going to happen. That's just my opinion. What do you got here? Mystery Maven, do you think the recent claims for on social media could be jeopardizing investigations, LE process, future legal matters, has any legitimacy? Well, I tell you what. Let me give you a clarity as to why that can't be the case. When Tyson took Barry Morphew's statement, the FBI asked for it. And the reason for that is because they didn't get it. And that means it's free. I would have died for YouTube when I was working, these kind of cases when I was with the PD. I still do with the Cold Case Foundation in a support role with law enforcement. We support law enforcement and victims' families, everything we do. So if a citizen comes to me as a detective and says, hey, I got this interview with the guy I think you guys are looking at as the murderer, I'd say, you have it? and then I would watch it, and then I would put it into evidence. So I don't know how that could interfere with the legal system, because you got one of the highest profile cases in trial right now, i.e. Barry Morphew, and they're going to play Tyson's video. And the DA is going to look over at Barry and smile, and the defense is going to go, we got to try to knock that out. Okay. So no, I see it as a, if you're injecting yourself into the investigation, i.e., you're trying to do things that, just aren't by the book, that's a different case. But nothing that anybody's doing that I've done or that anybody else is doing is going to jeopardize the case at all. Evident of the fact I submitted all my stuff in a SharePoint to TBI. They asked for it. Okay? They didn't say, hey, you're jeopardizing the case. Can we have that video? I called them. They didn't call me. And I said, hey, I got this video of, folks. Are you interested? And they said, yes, sir. We'll send you a SharePoint. And I uploaded it. That's it. Nobody complained about it. I'm not in custody. That should help. Great question, though. How on earth did you allow Brandon to reenact what he did, that poor boy, on you? That was terrifying. Wildlife Ranch, I love your name. So the backstory behind that is when he went up to West Hollywood. He took a bus up to West Hollywood, and LAPD at the time, there were two guys up there, a guy named Mike McDonough and John Thune. And the funny story is, they had this guy in custody because he attacked another woman, and he stabbed her, I think, like 30-something times. And long story short, our secretary comes back and says, hey, Mac, LAPD, West Hollywood's on the line, And so I picked up the phone. I said, McDonough. And this guy goes, McDonough. I said, yeah, McDonough. He goes, McDonough. I'm like, who the heck is this? He goes, Mike McDonough, LAPD. I said, no kidding. This is Chris McDonough, right? So we cracked up for 4 or 5 minutes, and he says, hey, I got this guy up here that, he says he may be involved in your caper down there. And for those of you who are just joining us, I did an interview with this kid, and it's on my channel. It's called Brandon Wilson, where he reenacted how he murdered a 9-year-old little boy. And I let him pretend that I was the boy. And so, long story short, I asked him, Mike McDonough, I said, hey, ask him where the wound patterns are on this victim. And one of the things you learn, if you pay attention as a homicide investigator, is what we call holdback. So it's only information the suspect would know when you get them in the interview room. And that way you're talking to the right guy or gal. So he comes back to the phone about 15 minutes later, and he said he stabbed a kid in the upper right quadrant in the back. And I said, I'm on my way, because that was information that only the suspect would have known. And it obviously, he also had a knife that they found from the first stabbing up there when he got off the bus at the Greyhound in West Hollywood. And then we found the victim's blood on the inside of his pockets of his pants. So at the time, I called Dr. Park Dietz. He's a famous forensic psychologist. And I said, hey, Park, here's what we got. And he goes, where did he get off the bus? And I said, West Hollywood. He said, okay. He said, make him famous. I said, got it. So literally, I asked him if he would demonstrate how he committed the crime. And he goes, well, why would I do that? That was his initial idea. And I said, well, you want to be famous, right? And he looked at me And by the way, I was below him because I was looking up at id, right? The alter ego. And I was just somebody that fell off a turnip truck. And he looked down at me and he goes, "You can do that?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And so I got on the phone in front of him and called our PIO and said, "Hey, make sure when Mr. Wilson comes down that we got all those satellite trucks lined up." And at that time, we had 13 satellite trucks when we pulled up. And as I escorted him to the back of the building through the Sally Port and the holding show, he turned to me and, I'll just quote him. He turned to me and he goes, "Man, that was bitchin'." I said, "I bet." I said, "Now, as a result of that, don't forget." And so there you go. What inspired you to go out on your own as a creator? Christy. I blame that on Mike. He loved me, and he said, "Look, you dude, you need to go do this." And by the way, I didn't want to do any of this YouTube at all. When he called me up, he wanted to talk about the Wilson case, and that's how I got into this. And then, he thought, "You know what, you need to go do your thing." And so Mike encouraged me to get out here. And so that's how I got into this. Okay. And I thank him for it. And I thank you for it. I'm trying to get to a member of it, but it's not working. Maybe a mod could help. Let it be summer. Yes, thank you. If somebody can help, that would be awesome. And I see D-Man just stepped in. Thanks, Steve. If you can grab some of these, I'd appreciate it. Can we review what's on the board for you all tomorrow on the live, Steve? And you had 2 bingo cards on things from the lives you pointed out. Can we review those too? Yeah, what's on the board right now is there is obvious signals of grooming. And then second to that is that kind of falls into place with some of the conversation where there was a admission, but a somewhat partial admission, i.e. age. So I look at it like this. If we look at what Jeannie is saying, his stepsister, and we look at what Don is saying, Jeannie's saying this has been going on from the age of 5 to 12 years of age. Okay? And Don is saying, well, yeah, it happened, but we were younger and she instigated it. Okay? So now let's take that a little bit further. Summer is 5. Hunter is 15. That should give folks some relevance as to why this is relevant in this case. Okay? So you have the sister of the father admitting that he violated the sister. That would be like Hunter saying, "I molested Summer." Okay? And his real sister, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's Debbie, Sherry, Mary, Sonia, Heidi, and Jeannie. Out of these 4 girls, or 6 girls, 4 of them, based on the conversations and interviews I've had with Mary and Jeannie, who, quite frankly, it took a lot of courage to go into the public arena and say, "I was molested." Okay. Out of those girls, those 2 of these, they said 4 of the 6. And a guy named Kelly, who was the stepfather, and of course, Don, who already admitted it. And so Sonia and Heidi maybe need to have a conversation with Kelly And Mary and Jeannie need to continue the conversation with Don. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because they're going to give their own statements. And by the way, for the record, Jeannie's already talked to TBI. The moment Summer went missing, she called TBI and gave a whole debriefing on what took place in her life. So as a result of that, it doesn't matter what people believe in the public forum. It's already what TBI knows and the FBI. So that gig is done. No matter what people say and how they say it, it's already in the hands of the law enforcement authorities. Okay? So there you go. On that piece of the puzzle. So thank you so much, Brian. And I don't know about his real sister, what she's going to say. I don't. Do you think Ellie thought Barry was going to flee before they arrested him? Could that be used as evidence in trial? Yeah, a flight risk. And where we saw that specifically is in his attorney's request for bond. They're trying to hold him in custody so that, because there is a belief that he's a flight risk for sure. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Chris, please. What's a bingo card when you say this? So I use the analogy of a bingo card that we're getting close to somebody getting hooked up. Okay. And the higher the number is, the closer we're getting. So I'll usually go up to either 100 or 1,000, depends on how hot the case is. I hope that helps, Beth. Thank you so much for asking. Chris Karen, do you ever think all those years that you'd be this busy in retirement? I know, right? Well, I'll be, I don't know. I love it though, because, I have to, my brain just keeps working. But, to be honest with you, I still do, I have a lot of other things that I have to do, during the day with cold case. So, in fact, I've got a double homicide out of Paris, Texas, right now that I'm working with the agency, one of the agencies down there, with others. So, my wife has been trying for weeks to think of who you remind her of. She just says Quincy M.E. from the shows years ago when we watched. Same heart and soul on the job, only helping in real life. Thank you, Jack. And I think you're a Marine Corps fellow, if I remember right? Semper Fi there, Devil Dog. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Lynn, can you imagine showing up to a job interview with Steve Johnson sitting other? No, I know that guy's fantastic, isn't he? Steve is trained the trainer. So when these guys go back to their agencies, it was Steve that trained them. So we're lucky to have him, come with us and share his knowledge. He's pretty fascinating. He's got a gift. But, he understands that linguistic aspect of certain things. I have an intuition, and, that is usually, right on target. Not all the time, but, I'm human. But it works for me pretty much. There's a lot of things that fall into place, that's for sure. Let's see here. The word princess is a grooming love language, stating from my own personal experience. Yes, Danielle. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, God bless you, and thank you. And I'm sorry. Simultaneously, I'm sorry. Is Gma talking? Not that I'm aware of. TJV. Thank you. Let it be summer. Yeah, there you go. For some reason, the link isn't working. Maybe too many people didn't know. We'll try to get that fixed for sure. Karen Barker. I want to thank you for being so sensitive to those who've been hurt. When we were kids, I'm not used to men being that sensitive to that subject. You're very kind about it. Thanks again. Well, you're very welcome. When I got when the department would have these times where they'd go, how many murders are you into? And you tell them, and they go, okay, you need to either go for a month at the beach team. And that's where you'll see that picture of me leaning against the Jeep. Okay. Because that was like a vacation. Okay. And then you come back and you pick your caseload up. Okay. Or they send you over to sex crimes. Go figure. Okay. So I had a really crazy caper one time. I had a mom that got into a fight with her husband, who, by the way, was an FBI agent. Okay. And she took the kids. They went to a hotel, and a suspect broke in and assaulted her. And while he was assaulting her, he was looking at her daughter and says, "You're next." Okay. Long story short, we get to the hospital. The SART team, which is a sexual assault response team, shows up. She's in the ER with the docs. The nurses are in there with her. Just an amazing human being, completely broken at this point. And her husband showed up. And he says, "Where's my wife?" And I said, "She's in that room. You're not going in yet." He goes, "No, she's my wife. I'm going in." I said, "No, you don't understand. Okay? Your wife right now has been horribly victimized, and the evidence needs to be collected. So she's a crime scene simultaneously. You're not going in until she's done." And when the nurses and the docs came out and gave me the thumbs up that everything was cool, I told him, I said, "Pay attention and be kind. I know you guys had a fight earlier, but this is not what it's about." And as God is my witness, he walks in the door. The first words out of his mouth was, "Look what you got yourself into tonight." I almost lost it. And I grabbed him by the arm, pulled him out, and I said, "You're not going in there anymore. You're done. Have a good night." He goes, "That's my wife." And I go, "That's my crime scene. Have a good evening." And so I sent him back into the lobby. And of course, he tried to complain, and which everybody does. They all complain, right? Go, who's your boss? Line them up. Okay. When I told my boss what happened, he said, "Good. At least we didn't have to hook him up." Desperately seeking. I haven't heard anything anywhere about Summer having any birthmarks, scars, etc. If that was taken, wouldn't that be important? Yeah, that would be important, and that's a very good point. Desperately seeking. Good point. I am enough with Connie. Can police get copy of creator's phone records? He keeps taking days, lots of information. If it's relevant to the case, but remember, creators fall under the rules of the media. So it has to be not true for it to be slanderous and or problematic. If it's true, there's no legs to stand on. None. Okay. Just ask my attorney. Okay. Next. K. Debbie, let's give 3 cheers to the latest. Yeah, thank you so much. Kentucky Debbie, yes. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. 4 cheers. Cheers. Diane, do you think that this happened to Summer because moving the family to Utah plan fell through? I do not know that answer. I just know there's, according to the reports, a 2 to potentially 5 to potentially 10-minute time frame, and she's gone. Steve sounds just like the actor Mac Damon. 99 Pink Balloons. Love that song, and I'll let him know. I love it. And that's Leticia Hernandez right there. That's Leticia. I see her picture on your. Wow, good for you. Thank you for keeping her face there. Thank you. Mama She 13. That story. Fine Summer. I know, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that comment. The Wildlife Ranch. Just so everyone knows, you had to become a member 20 minutes prior to the stream to comment tonight. You should be good for future streams. Yeah. I wanted to, this was not about getting memberships. I wanted to get our members that have been here, catch up with them. This is my obligation to you folks. And now that you are here, if you did join tonight, God bless you. We thank you. But anybody can watch this, but only members can comment. Okay? So thank you so much. And you guys have been with me from day one, and this is really the first time I've done a one-on-one with you guys and giving you an opportunity to ask questions and get to know me. I appreciate it. Wackadoodle, Gen M. I know. I love that term. Don't you love that term? I don't know where I picked it up, but I always say that guy's eggs aren't scrambled correctly. Brian Dancer, what are your thoughts on Don's driving through the day of summer going missing and showing off the shed? You know, keep going. Keep going. Beth McGee, Chris, do you think the word queen or pre-queen are grooming words? It just hit me when you said princess is a grooming word. Lots of dads, I think, may say to their daughter that they are princesses. Yes, and a lot of dads don't, have other things that would be consistent with, sexual contact with children. So I agree with you, Beth, 100%. That I don't think, just because the choice of words is only specific to those types of individuals. I think it's a totality of behavior, not only past, present, but future, and the verbiage that they utilize in their victimology. For an example, the tickle game. In Jeannie's case, Don would play the tickle game with her. Okay? Ask him. Okay? Just ask him. See what he says. Okay? Jen Witch. First, your voice and personality is soothing, and when I can't sleep, listen to your channel. Thank you so much, by the way. Appreciate that. Vids I've already seen. Second, can you share... put that back. I don't know where it went. Share your background with us. Much love from Iowa. Which part? My personal life, or you're talking about my professional life? I went over my personal life a little bit earlier, and I think I've touched on my professional life. But just ask me, put some specifics in there, Jen, for me, or hit me on Discord as well, and I'll help you there. Okay, I don't want to forget that. So, okay. Why are missing? I don't even know who these people are. So, I don't talk bad about anybody. So I'm not going to mention them. Go ahead. You're very good at what you do, Chris. My brother is a retired police officer. My sister-in-law still detective, St. Petersburg, Florida. God bless him, Beth, and tell him thank you for your service. And all of you LE folks out there, and you nurses and your doctors and your EMTs and our firefighters and our dispatchers, and of course anybody in public service and our vets, God bless you. It's all of us. It's all of us collectively that help, in these kind of cases. The search and rescue folks who showed up, for summer, and who are still looking for summer to this day. They're still out there. God bless you, because I know you go home and you don't sleep, because you got to get up and keep moving. And if you think I go 100 miles an hour, you can imagine what these folks are doing. I felt that pressure before. I'm enough with Connie. Good to see you again. I was talking about, can you get all the phone records from your creator that is talking to the family and get info? Well, they could subpoena anything. So sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. As long as it's relevant to the case. Okay. Can we please get the link for Discord, Mod? Yes, somebody, if we can put our Discord link in there, that'd be great. Jen, I apologize. I was meaning your background behind you. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Jen. My apologies. So, yeah, this is just a scrambled eggs, just kind of showing how profiling and the 10 filters of profiling, this is how it used to be done. And now it's all done by computers. We used to have a war room whenever we had a major caper. We'd get 10 sheets of paper, and then you would put the 10 principles up, and then you'd start filling in the blanks, and you start connecting, lines like this. So this is just a picture I pulled. Thank you. That's a great. Now I understand. Appreciate that. Okay. What else we got here? Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay with this? I mean, are you? And hopefully, I'm getting to most of your questions. And forgive me if I'm missing something. It certainly is not intentional. Do I have a real board, Shelby? Yes, I do. Yep. And that's the one I keep. This right here is my gospel, and not figuratively like the four gospels, right? But this right here has all the things that I need to know about. Here's the entire genealogy of that family, when people went, who went where, when, why. This is all the girls in the family. This is if there's been a report of sexual assault. This is who the suspect is, and these are all pieces of the puzzle. And there's a lot of summer in this book. That's mine. Okay? That's how my brain works. Do I have doodles? Yeah. Just want to thank you for all you do, and I get a kick out of your singing chipmunk joke last night. Yeah. I know who would shoot. Barry said he was shooting chipmunks. Who in the world would kill the chipmunks? What kind of madness has this world become? You're shooting Alvin, and this is crazy, absolutely crazy. The fact that he even said that, I mean, come on. Can you imagine the FBI agent taking that statement? So let me get this right. So what exactly were you doing? I was shooting chipmunks. Okay. How many of them? 80, 82, whatever it is, whatever the number is. So you've got enough time to shoot 80 chipmunks? Yeah. What happened to your wife? Why do we still get called victims rather than survivors? That's a great point. You know what? Thank you, Jim. Jeanette. Thank you for being a survivor. God bless you. There you go. Thank you. And I'm glad you corrected me. Thank you. Mama Sheet 13. Can't wait for part 3 with Steve tomorrow. Me neither. Tomorrow he's bringing it tomorrow. It's going to be really, really interesting. Have they searched the landfills for summer? Becca, I don't know that, but I do know that the sheriff has made it clear multiple times that everybody is still a suspect and that the searches are continuing. The searches are continuing. Do you know Pat? Yeah, I do know Pat. He's retired, and I knew Pat when he was in homicide in Nashville. Absolutely. In fact, I did an analysis with him on, I think it was the doctor or the lawyer whose wife disappeared back in the day, about 10 years ago, I guess. And so we also did a class, Cold Case Foundation, and I taught criminal investigative analysis to Nashville PD when Pat was there. So there you go. Do you think Summers' case is solvable, or will it go cold? Little Aussie. I think it's solvable. I don't see these guys in any way, shape, or form letting this thing go cold. I can't help but to keep talking about this. He just tried to say the nieces didn't say those things happened. His other incident was blown out of proportion, is being retracted. Well, I'm not retracting anything. In fact, I'll double up on it. Okay? And I asked Don about his 17-year-old girlfriend that he's got working right now. Go over in that channel and put it in the chat. That's all I'm going to say. Next. Where are the boys? We're here around the world. Want to know what is going on with aquarium being denied here in Bakersfield. I do not know that, Real T. I do not know that. My favorite quote: "Loose lips sink ships. Can't wait to see the ship sink of the monster responsible for summer's disappearance." Yeah, I agree, Andrew. I agree, and it's anybody's game right now, right? All right. So, oh, here's one. My puppy is named Theodore Teddy. Shooting the chipmunks. Barry is nutcase chipmunks. I seriously, he must have got uh, off a guard and blurted that one out. Yeah, I know, Lynn, right? I mean, I still can't believe that. I still can't believe that. Shooting chipmunks. Amazing. When the FBI heard that before, LOL, absolutely fascinating. Thank you again, Chris. And chipmunks reminded me of Chad Daybell. Yeah, the raccoon, right, Danielle? Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, the raccoon. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Was Irk really a jerk? If yes, how so? No, he wasn't, Deb. He was just, whenever he would get fired up, he was just a machine. And that dog saved my bacon so many times in some critical incidences. So, no, I just call him Irk the jerk. I loved him to death. He died actually in the line of duty. So that's how I got transferred out. So next, thank you, Tina. I live in Kingsport. Did they go back and search the swimming hole they were at? Yes, I believe they did. Yep. Holly W. Know anything about Gilgo Beach murders on Long Island? I was just on court TV about that a couple of nights ago, and the chief up there, I guess, was hooked up for some things, and it looks like he may have also had some focus on him as being a possible subject of interest in those cases. I think there's 11 or 13 women, mostly ladies of the evening, that haven't been discovered in that one corridor. So Vinny Politon had me on court TV the other night to weigh in. Little Aussie, thank you for this amazing channel and hardworking moderators. Thank you for saying that. You're right. Our moderators are amazing, and we cannot do it without them. We certainly do appreciate them, and we can't say enough. So thank you for recognizing them, Little Aussie. Appreciate you. KD, Chuck Cox, father of Susan Powell, talk live with you. Karen and Maria Chris and Richard to highlight concerns for all kids left in POI custody. You know, yeah, that he was just not wrapped tight, right? You know, that guy, killed Susan, and then burnt that house down. Took everything with it, including the truth. You know, so yeah, great point. Louisiana girl, hi Louisiana girl, it's great seeing you. I need to know if you find the tranquilizer info important as I do. That was interesting, right? How fascinating was that? That he had a tranquilizer cap found in the dryer. So, yeah, I mean, this guy, very, spent some time in this. But remember, a while ago, I mentioned that he was listening to these true crime podcasts just all the time whenever he would go hunting. And so, on his way up there, and I talked to one guy that was with him. It was like a 13 or 14-hour trip. And all 13 or 14 hours, Barry was listening to true crime podcasts. It's crazy. But he was getting figuring it out. Thank you for the show. Nice surprise today. Thank you, Kubi. Appreciate you being here. You're very kind. Okay, Karen, the interview room production. What do you think about DW coming down off the hill to be on the YouTube with his fans, but was not at a prayer vigil? Oh man, doodles. You got to ask Don that question. Don, Don gets to answer these questions for Don, you know. But I don't know, you know. I don't know. DJV, how come C&D and GMA are not in separate interview rooms, tripping over each other's story? I don't know if it's got to that point yet, though, DJV. I think they're still allowing the atmosphere to create itself. Jabberjaws, love it, love it. I have cold case my cousin, Regina Rowe Hicks, Ohio, 2001-23. Old was in a passenger side of her car in a pond separate from her husband, had 3-year-old son. I'm so sorry to hear this. Go over to the Cold Case Foundation and fill out an intake form. Okay, it says contact us and just give them some information, and one of our analysts will reach out to you. Mama Sheet 13, there was another prayer vigil tonight. C was there, but no D. Joanne Smart, thank you for all you and your family do. Really, I'm grateful there are people like you in this world. Thank you so much, and I'm grateful for people like you who also are vigilant in helping people like me. Mouth of the South, I absolutely love it. Do you think they will ever find Suzanne? That's one for the universe. Let's pray. I think also maybe when this prelim gets bound over, my sense is the defense is going to circle the wagons and say, Barry, they have 3 terabytes of information about this, about you and your behavior. It's going to get nasty. How about thinking about a deal? Maybe a second. And I think Barry, once he realizes that, it's over, and he's offered maybe a deal, I won't be surprised if he doesn't take it, to be honest with you. Even though everybody, we all think he's, too arrogant and there's no way he'd ever do it. I think he could. I think he could take it with the caveat that he gets the deal if he gives up where Suzanne is. That's a possibility in my mind that could play out. Smile again. Christy, you think that Barry is the one who really sent the selfie of Suzanne? Isn't that message that was sent along with the photo chilling? I don't have enough, Smile again, thank you for that comment and question, but I don't have enough, data on that one. I think there's going to be more behind that potentially, that what you're thinking, it possibly could be. Let's, I think that will come out in the trial, though, a little bit more. Do you think about the new lead DW speaks of guy just got out, old moonshine? Well, Don told me about the guy who, grabbed the kid in town. Okay. There's a couple of problems in my mind with that one. Number one is his victimology was a 12-year-old boy cutting the lawn. Okay. I don't think that guy, elevator went to the top floor. He, I think he was a tweaker, and he was just spun out because he followed the kid into his house through his garage where his mother was. Okay. You see, that's the kind of schizo problem, versus an organized offender who would take a high risk, to camp out at the top of the property at Don's house. Okay. Why didn't the guy just walk into the house? He seems like he's capable of doing it. That would be my first question. Okay. And so we got to be really careful about those things because you spend a lot of time chasing those rabbit holes versus chasing potentially who could have done it. Okay. The person that did it or is involved in it, okay, it's either one, a spontaneous problem that got out of hand, or two, okay, an organized problem that was well executed. Okay. The reason that guy's in custody, is because his eggs are scrambled. Okay? I hope that helps. Joanne Smart. Also question, were you nervous going into the basement that day? I felt like I was watching a scary movie. I want to scream. No, don't go. Um, my radar was up, that's for sure. I would be lying to tell you differently. So, yeah, when I got down there, I was like, whoa. Okay? Because it was dark on the left side, and then they had a little light coming through that window that was blocked on the right side. But the TV is the only light in that other room. So, Cola Green, it's sad and worrying when people acknowledge horrendous behavior. I know, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. Danielle Riverbaker, thank you so much. Chris, I absolutely love your channel. Thank you for everything you and your family do. You sure have made a difference in the world. God bless you. Thank you for that comment. We appreciate you very much. You're very kind. Abby Duncan, do you know more on Summer's case that you haven't told the public? Appreciate you. What is important, I have shared with the authorities. And in no way, shape, or form is that endangered or jeopardized the investigation. Keith Wiley, why was Grandis allowed to leave the state but H wasn't? H prime suspect, perhaps. I don't know. Rags, why would they take their phones the first night she went missing? They weren't suspects. Then what if someone found her and needed to call? Well, everybody's phone immediately gets taken, and they do a dump. Okay. And by the way, I don't think they gave them back because it went into evidence. Okay. It's sitting in an evidence locker somewhere. That's just my opinion. Ask Barry, right? Barry's seeing the results of his phone, and Suzanne's and others. Okay, so that's a great point. Chef Betsy, thank you to you and your family and awesome mods and my fellow Patreons and subscribers. All of us invest in the same goal. Yeah, bring 5-year-old little girl home. That's right. That's exactly right. Thank you for saying that. Didi Shaughnessy, I hear you're shaking back there, but he is. He's over there. He's got a little squirrel. And I got to be careful saying that because he'll start running up here and jumping on me. But yeah, he is. He's back there going at it. Mystery Maven, sending this for the Bud Man. Hearing him in the background cracks me up, makes me smile. Exactly. He is. He's so funny. He's a nut job. He's an absolute nut job. If you guys, who in here has a Jack Russell too, by the way, and we have a page just for our fur babies and everybody, cats, reptiles, you name it, dogs. Just bring them all. If you have a cow, put their pictures up. I love going in there and watching them and seeing them and seeing who your family is. So, thank you for sharing those and feel free to do that. It's called Animal Chat in the Discord channel. So get over there and put those in there. Carrie, thank you, Chris. My new favorite saying, this isn't my first rodeo. I know, right? I don't know. My brain's sometimes, I don't know where it goes, but they slapped my mother when I was born is what I tell everybody. And they don't believe me, but I'm sure it happened. I don't know. I get these thoughts, they just come and sometimes it just shows up. So thank you for saying that. Maybe we'll get a cup one day. We don't even have merchandise, right? I don't even know how to do that. Everybody's like, you need to do that. Okay. I don't have time. I'm trying to find Summer. Okay. Leon McKenzie. It makes me uneasy that all the children beds in the house right in front of the external doorways. Yeah, it was, it's interesting. I thought that was the boys' beds, their primary beds when you first come in. And you heard me ask, is this Summer's bed and stuff? And she goes, no, it's downstairs. And then I went downstairs and I was like, whoa. Okay. I learned a lot about Summer that day. And I told her, I said, I understand Summer a lot better now. And you know, to Candace, I think she was being sincere when she was talking to me. I've said that from the beginning. Okay. Now, what happened, I don't know yet. That's for the authorities to figure out. I've said that from the beginning as well. Okay. I just know the one thing that I have uncovered is the sexual abuse. Okay. And I know people are like, well, why is that relevant? Because past behavior is important to understand future behavior. Okay. And I'll give you an example. The dart gun in Barry's case with Suzanne now becomes significant because it's a tranquilizer gun. Remember, Barry's a hunter. And in order to understand how he utilizes his thought process, okay, then you have to understand what that is. And that's the previous behavior that leads up to chasing his wife around the house with a tranquilizer gun potentially. Okay. So that's why it's significant to understand what at the age of 15 Don was doing or actually the age of 12, what Don said he was doing to a 5-year-old. Okay. Now, again, let me refresh your memory. Summer was 5, Hunter was 15. Okay. So if we kind of do the math there, if Hunter was 12 and Summer was 5, then that's what we have going on here. Okay. And now fast forward that for 7 years. 7 years. 7 years. Okay. Until Dawn was 19 and she was 12. Okay. Now, that's significant. And anybody that doesn't think that's significant, you need to go talk to somebody. Okay. You really do. And that's just, Wesley Allen Dodd, who was a serial child killer. I'm going to play those tapes one night for you guys. Okay. I spent about 6.5 hours with him and asked him how he started and how he ended up a serial child killer in Walla Walla State Prison on death row. Okay. I sat across from him and others. Okay. And, there you go. It's significant to understand that. Next question, D. I'm sorry. And thank you for being here, by the way. We're grateful for you. Let's see here. Let's see here. Do you think it's possible D left for work or time that made it back for seeing a 911 call? Yeah, I mean, that's always been one of my theories. That's possible. Yeah, he could have gone to work that morning. No question about it. And everybody could have seen him and high-fived each other. Okay. But at some point, is it possible then? So the next question for my mind, is it possible he could have driven home and been home? And could he have called her from the house saying, when are you coming home? Okay. Or when are you going to be home? Okay. That's a possibility as well, just like he could have been at work. Both of those need to be validated. And then that time frame needs to be validated. And what will validate that will be the signal of where those phones were at all times. Okay? And if he was at work, well, then he was at work. That's the truth. Okay? Veronica, supposedly the wife of Moonshire called this, saying she thinks, okay, well, okay, that's their opinion, but we don't know yet. Teresa Webb, love your channel, Chris. And Karen, don't listen to YouTube's texters who think they know more than you. I'm good either way. But thank you, Teresa. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. You're so kind. That's the one thing I love about our little community here. You guys got such class. You really do. Let other people do what they do. just keep moving. Stay focused. The goal here is summer, right? Is summer. We don't have to. I don't like to talk bad about anybody. I mean, I'm sure I have a lot in my life, but this is not the time. What do you mean by he knows there's something else cooking, and let's see how that plays out. First, in regards to missing Cal Baker's boy. Well, what I mean by that is the FBI and the Bakersfield PD have been on that thing, that situation for quite some time now. And I'm assuming that they're moving in the right direction. They got a lot of resources up there on that one. Okay, next. Great question. Down Under Crime Talks. We keep it classy in our rodeos. Exactly. I love it. I love your name too, by the way. Down Under Crime Talks. Love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you. Does it take very long to examine phone records? Well, it depends on the backlog in Quantico. The CAS team, the cellular analysis team, it's usually 30 to 60 days depending on the priority. They may already have those records back, but then they have to go to an analyst, and the analyst has to connect all the dots, and depends on what technology they're using, what software programs they're using to create an analytic chart and a flow chart. Okay, thank you, Kathy. All right, so I've had you for an hour and 42 minutes. This is going to be the last one. Dill, if you can grab this. And I just want to tell each and every one of you how grateful Karen and I are. The Aloha Spirit is about love. We want to tell you how much we love and appreciate you. And I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. Us, when we talk, that we like to keep it real. I try to be, 100% with you. I don't like, the drama, the mishigosh, all the other stuff. I stay out of it. Okay. And at the same time, I hope you're enjoying our quality and the content that we're presenting to you as our membership. We've got a lot more ideas coming. My sweet wife, she's a very creative, woman who, quite frankly, she's a lot smarter than me, and she runs a tight ship, and I love her for that. She's a very independent thinker and a very independent, strong woman, and so she's got some great ideas. If you gals have some ideas, please throw them her way or put them up in our, in the community channel there. We'd love to hear from you on our page over there. Okay, Sharon, last question, and thank you so much. Were there terrible internet coverage affect their location? Well, yes, there could be, absolutely. But cell coverage, right? More so than the internet. It could, Candace said Verizon doesn't work very well out there, but AT&T does. So, that could have been in play. Yeah, but that won't determine whether or not they get the correct information from the PD side. Need street shirts. This is not my first rodeo. I know, right? Maybe we should get a shirt with Buddy on it too. Maybe we'll put Buddy on a cup or something like that. I don't know. Give us your ideas. Throw them into, the community page on, some of your comments and stuff. And, we'll see what we can get. But we're not there yet, but we appreciate your insight, your comments, your suggestions. We certainly do want to make sure that we're treating you correctly because we appreciate your sponsorship and your support of what we're doing out here. So with that, God bless each and every one of you. Continue to be good to each other. Take care of each other. Let's find Suzanne. Let's find Summer. Maya, and also Kelly Brennan. We have not forgotten. We just have not. I'm constantly in contact with folks behind the scenes on that one, and we just keep pressing forward. We got some other things that are in the cooker that we hope you're going to enjoy, and then I think this guy in Delphi is going to be interesting though. I'm not going to weigh in on Delphi yet until we see that the PD flushes this guy out. Maybe they have already. I don't know yet. But thank you to our mods, Miss Sophia. Our she's amazing. Maui girl, Mimi, Miss TJ, and Four Sons Mom. God bless you all. Are you guys ready to go to Hawaii? Okay. I love this song. Don't you guys just love this song? It's fantastic. So, Dill, let's take us to Hawaii. Aloha, everybody. Have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow night. You don't want to miss it. It's part 3. Steve's going to really break this thing down. And if you want to see Brennan Wilson's interview, jump down there. And also what we learned about Barry Morphew, I think now will give you a little more understanding of where we were going when we did that piece. Okay, so Dill, let's go to Hawaii. Aloha, guys.
Hard working every day, I'm stressed out 24/7, babe. No timeouts, wish we could fly away. You and I go to our favorite place. Oh yeah, make special memories together. I'll be your company now and forever. I say we fly away, you and me, go to our favorite place. Feeling the sun on my face in a while.